Hello, Shade Tree Survivalists. Mike Daddy 1911A1 here with the Shade Tree Survivalists. This video, I'm going to cover the controls on a modern semi-automatic handgun so that Mike, as well as his fiancée, pretty much know what they are beforehand, and some of the differences in modern firearms and the older, what everybody considers a relic and antique, the 1911A1, which I trust with my life. First, here on the left, we have an M&P 40C. It is a short-barreled version of the M&P 40 caliber handgun that quite a few law enforcement agencies have went to, and it has one extra feature that most of those do not have. And most of your M&P series handguns do not have an external safety such as this here, this little lever. It is the same thing and does the same function as the lever here on the 1911. It is a manual external safety. Most of these guns do not have this. They only have the two-piece trigger. Okay, let me zoom in on that. And I'll zoom in on it so you can get a really good view of it. The trigger is two-piece. When you pull the trigger, you see that little blade right in there. See how it moves out of the way? That releases it and enables the trigger to continue to the rear, so when you can pull it and fire the weapon. That is one of your safeties. And there's three internal safeties to prevent it from firing if you drop it and so forth. On a Glock, you have a solid trigger, and there's a blade that is in the center of the trigger that moves and does basically the same thing as that. It's a trigger block. It will not allow you to pull that trigger. I don't like that idea. Some folks do, some folks don't, but without that external safety, the triggers on these newer guns are very light. You know, we're talking 4.5, 5 pounds, unless you buy one in certain states where they mandate a very heavy trigger, which is a load of crap. It's harder to hit with any consistency when you've got a really hard trigger pull. But while I've got it zoomed in, let's get down to some of these other levers and so forth. If yours has this, of course, as I've said, it's a thumb safety, an external manual safety that you can put on. That is safe. That is ready to fire. But most more modern polymer handguns do not have that. The second lever right here is the slide lock, slide release. Upon firing the last cartridge in the magazine, this will lock the slide here back. And this one here, you don't mess with it unless you're taking the gun apart. This here releases it. It's the takedown lever, and it allows you to take the slide off the frame. You can get into more of that if you purchase one and go from there. One more, I almost forgot. This here button is, of course, a magazine release, and you can reverse it. I don't know how you do it. This is not my gun. I'm not going to worry about it too much, but you can reverse that and put it on the other side so you can push it from this side and release it, as well as the slide lock, as well as the thumb safety. So you've got all your controls minus this here, which is not actually a control. You have all the controls mirrored on the other side other than switching that out. And like I said, you can reverse that. But let's unload it. Alright, now the magazines are very different than a 1911 magazine, and yeah, it's loaded. We're not going to be handling it in such a way as to discharge a firearm, but you can see how, well, let's take it like this. You can see how it funnels down at the top, and it allows it to be double stacked so you can carry more cartridges in the same length magazine. The standard 1911 magazine is a single stack, and it's much easier to load, but you have a fewer rounds. This is a Wilson Combat 8 round. This is your standard M&P that you get with the handgun, one of the two that we got with it, and it'll carry 10, let's see, flip it over, you can see the number, 10 cartridges in it. Now, Para Ordnance and several other manufacturers make a double stack magazine or a double stack 1911 And I thought about getting one. Who knows, I may before it's over with. I mean, having those extra rounds without actually having to reload, you know, it was a nice thing. Para Ordnance has one called the P14, and it holds 14 45 caliber cartridges in a double stack magazine. So that's something to think about. You can buy these you can buy these babies here that'll hold 14, 15, 20, 30, but all you really need is a standard magazine in it. The longer that magazine is, the harder it is to conceal and to carry. Okay, but that is what a 40 cal looks like. And next to it is a massive 45 caliber. Quite a bit more recoil with this one because the actual bullet, the projectile, is quite a bit heavier. This is 230 grains. This one I think is 165 if I'm not mistaken. But you can get heavier or lighter bullet weights in the same cartridge, and you can lessen the recoil effects. Now while we got the magazine up here, let's talk about it a little bit. The cartridge is pushed down on a mag follower. Okay, that's internal, and then there's a spring. At the bottom you have the floor plate. This here, the metal part, is the magazine tube. The body of it is the magazine tube. And up here, from here to here, this is the magazine feed lips. These are critical. You do not want to damage these. They control that cartridge until at the last moment they are released at the correct time for the for it to go up into the to the barrel, into the chamber, also known as the breech of the barrel. So these here are very critical, and when you're doing your cleaning, you want to inspect right here at this area here for cracks, and if it's cracked, it's no good, throw it away. Which most of the more modern ones, unless you buy the El Cheapo jobs, you don't have to worry about that. I mean, they're really tough, very reliable, very resilient. And here on the stainless steel one, you may be able to see it better. But right in this area here on the 1911 mag, this is where you'll inspect for cracks, and here are the feed lips on it. But a lot of people buy cheap magazines and think they're going to get race car performance, and it turns out it's a jam-o-matic. If you're having a problem with jams, try a known good magazine from another gun or from your own that you know is a good magazine, and the gun runs and functions fine on it. And usually it's magazine related if you're having a lot of jams and issues, especially with a 1911, because the 1911 has been one of the most produced and modified guns in history. I mean, everybody and his brother makes parts for it, like the AR-15. And just because they make it for the gun does not necessarily mean it's going to function correctly. If you have a 1911, you buy a 1911 and it is a jam-o-matic and it's causing a lot of jams, get a high quality magazine such as this Wilson Combat, a real deal Colt magazine with standard feed lips, okay? Not the race gun feed lips. And if it's just a standard magazine, it'll work fine. You put it in the gun, and I guarantee you, unless there's something broken in the gun, it will run like a rape tape, as it should. When you start screwing around the timing on any firearm, you're going to have these problems. But anywho, that it concludes. Well, no, not concludes it. Let's get down to something else. End of the barrel here, this is the business end. This is known as the muzzle. Okay. Back here at the rear, let me lock the slide back. And right in there, that is the breech, aka the chamber. That shiny piece right here, this is the feed ramp leading from the magazine into the barrel. That there, you want to make damn sure it is absolutely clean, no burrs. Do not use anything abrasive to clean it, because you can damage it. And that goes for any semi-automatic handgun. And of course, you've got your sights, and some of them, these here, the 3-dot sights, these are really good sights. They line up real well. Let's see, get it against that red background, you can see it better. You want to find a handgun, if you're going to carry, that the rear of the sights and the rear of the gun will not claw you to pieces and tear you up or gouge up your clothing. Novak makes some really good ones. They make night sights. They have tritium inserts that glow in the dark. And tritium is a a radioactive isotope. It's very mild, I guess. Otherwise, why would they sell it? But anywho, they don't need to be exposed to sunlight in order to be seen at night. On a more modern handgun, you've got a rail here. You can add a flashlight that is made for the handgun, as well as a laser. That's a good idea, but it requires a completely different type of holster, and for concealed carry, that's probably not the best bet because of the bulk. But for home defense, yeah, you'd want a flashlight. You do not ever shoot at a target, engage a target, unless you can absolutely identify who it is, or whether it's a bad guy, because otherwise you might kill your husband, your wife, or your kids. So you want to make damn sure you can identify them. So a laser, a flashlight mounted on your handgun might be a good idea. But anywho, this concludes this part. This is Mac Daddy 1911A1 with the Shade Tree Survivalist. Thank you very much for watching.